Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitang Tang Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitangscha Bande Bhaktivinodanam Gaura Shakti Srupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Himabhadivyachchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. So today is the Tirobhav, Disappearance, Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur and Sri Gadadhar Pandit. And it is not mere coincidence that they share the same day as the Bhaktivinod Thakur's deep appreciation and love and affection for Sri Gaur Gadadhar. Srila Guru Maharaj informs us that when we consider the contributions of Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur, we cannot but conclude that he descended from the highest plane to distribute something in this world. Not to be thought of as a practitioner, one who is gradually ascending by their spiritual practices, but rather descended from that plane to distribute something here. When Srila Saraswati Thakur concluded Brajamandal Parikrama in the complete of the tour of the whole of Vrindavan, and he put his palm to his forehead and said, "I'm so unfortunate. I couldn't find a single Vaishnav." And this was a shock to his followers. I think, where would there not be substantial devotees of Krishna but in Vrindavan? And he has just concluded a tour of the whole of Vrindavan and saying, "Oh, I'm so unfortunate, I couldn't find a single Vaishnav." Right? So the devotees, perplexed, they offered up the name of someone who was allegedly a Siddha Purush, Mahapurush, the highest type of realized soul. And Srila Saraswati Thakur said of him, he is an infant class Vaishnava. Right? He's of the lowest type of practitioner. Right? And that person was showing ecstatic symptoms. He said he could not attend the Bhagavad recitation unless he hear the name of Krishna and enter some deep ecstatic trance or start exhibiting ecstatic symptoms. So Guru Maharaj, always, as he says in his prayer, Vilasatu Hridi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta Bani. May the words of Srila Saraswati Thakur forever play upon my heart. Right? So he's hearing the words of Srila Saraswati Thakur. They're playing upon his heart. But what is seen from an objective sense, it's perplexing. So Guru Maharaj had the opportunity to observe this man after some time. He would be there foaming at the mouth, showing horripilation and trembling, and one person wiping this way, another person wiping that way, like a show. And he said, I would look at him, and in my mind's eye, see my Guru Maharaj, hear the words of my Guru Maharaj. And he said, and then I came to this conclusion, and he observed that this gentleman, after exhibiting so-called ecstatic symptoms, within a matter of minutes or moments, he was transitioned to ordinary affairs. When we hear of the divine trances of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also Pundarik Vidyanidhi in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, we will hear they enter this almost death-like state of trance for 9 hours. It's appearing in a death-like condition for 9 hours. What does it mean? Fainted to this world, but not just fainted unconscious, just no longer able to sustain external awareness on account of so much depth of penetration into the inner world. And a long period of time before able to go from internal to half external, half internal, back to external awareness. And here, this person, within moments, transitioning from some so-called alleged deep state of spiritual depth and penetration, and transitioning to trivial matters, ordinary affairs. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, after observing him and allowing the play of the divine words, instructions of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur upon his heart, he understood. He said, this gentleman, by his practices, he is trying to ascend, to elevate himself from this world toward that divine domain and that plane. He said, whereas our Guru Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur, they've descended from that very plane of which he's trying to achieve. They've descended from that world into this plane to distribute something. And what that is that they're descended to distribute, Srila Guru Maharaj identifies in his Bhaktivinod Viraha Dwadasakam, his prayers in separation of Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur. So, but elsewhere, Srila Guru Maharaj wrote, Guru Dham, and identifying the gifts, the contributions of Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur. Guru Dham, Grantha Dham, Gaura Dham, Nama Dham, Uda, Bhakti Dham, Buri Dham Bande, Bhaktivinod Dham Sada. What are they? Everything. Everything that we have, actually, in the form, what is the present-day Krishna consciousness movement. We know that Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur, he he published Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamritam, other books, but also he composed so many original works, such as the Jaiva Dharma, Chaitanya Shikshamritam, and numerous other works, as well as the songs that we sing. Right? They're mainly songs from Narottam Thakur and Bhaktivinod Thakur. If you look at the canon of Gaudiya Vaishnava songbook. Right? And as Guru Maharaj points out, Narottam Thakur, his songs mainly many dealing with the Siddha plane, and then a relatively smaller number of songs for the aspiring servitor and glorification of the lotus feet of Sri Guru, like that. And Bhaktivinod Thakur, we see, wrote so many songs that are appropriate for aspiring servitors to sing, and they form the basis of mainly the songs that we sing every day. And he wrote some songs from the Siddha plane, like the Ami Swananda Sukata Kunja Basi, when he talks about residing in that divine domain. But so Bhaktivinod Thakur, he gave all of the literary works that we have, or they were produced under his order. He also wrote this book, the Gauranga Leelam Smaranam, the Life and Precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was the first book in the English language to reach America, Canada. This is perhaps in the mid-1890s. And when I was traveling on the so-called library party, we saw this book at McGill University in Montreal, and you could see, and it was a family operation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had the books printed, Saraswati Thakur and others, they would like paste the picture in. Emerson received a copy. So he had begun the preaching in the English language. And we see his talk, the Bhagwat, which was an English talk given where he's actually parting with this group, Ram Mohan Roy, they're trying to present some hybrid of Christianity and Hinduism, right? And you see, there Bhaktivinod Thakur is parting with them. Ram Mohan Roy saw him as like his possible successor, and this talk, actually Bhaktivinod Thakur is taking a stand and separating. But it's very beautiful there how he refers to the Western Savior, Jesus Christ, and he says, but we should not neglect study of the Eastern Savior, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's there where he says that that the truth, and I'm paraphrasing, the truth invariably, inevitably descends into falsity. And he references the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna's telling Uddhava about Prakriti Vaicitra Paramparjena, that when the truth is heard or received, it subsequently undergoes modification according to the temperament of the receivers. There's Brahma, Narada, Brahma to his disciples, and according to their various temperaments, it takes on different shape and color, and then there's a parampara that descends from there. He's saying, and also referencing the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshyo vidu sakalena nahata yoga nashta parantapa. Yoga nashta means the link was broken. So I instructed this to Vivaswan, to Ikshakumanu, etc., and in time it's been broken. And why this is important, so Bhaktivinod Thakur says, and it's also additionally, an observation of the time in which he appeared, why it's further significant, that the truth inevitably is converted into error or falsity. So then we'll think, oh, that's a terrible thing. What are we to do? You know, he says there, and then gives an optimistic note. He's saying, therefore, revelation is continually necessary to restore the truth to its former position, to restore the truth to its full expression. That revelation will be continually necessary. In other words, it cannot be that just, we say, 5,000 years ago, or if you're very clever, 50 centuries ago. That's, mixing it up a little bit. It's the same thing. Then, something was revealed. Then 500 years ago, something was revealed. Or at this, 100 years ago, or 50 years ago. There must always be revelation. There must be a living interpretation of the truth. Otherwise, it becomes reduced to cant, or just the rote recitation of platitudes or formulas. It has to be living interpretation, living representation. Okay? That is necessary. So it's not enough to say, we publish these books and they will be there for so long. And who will interpret those books to see that the proper meaning is there? That is why they're the commentaries of Acharyas to begin with. Okay? To Sanatana Goswami Prabhu gives his own commentary to his own book, the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, to help you understand it. Right? So, you cannot eliminate the necessity of a living interpreter, is the point. Otherwise, it would have never been broken. If that were the case, the first time Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, which Guru Maharaj's point was karma yoga, whatever, then how did the link become broken? Because it means there wasn't a proper living interpretation of that. And therefore, it was broken and needed to be reestablished. It's there in the Bhagavad Gita. It's there in the Uddhava Gita. So why should we think we are exempt from that? Okay. And look no further than Bhaktivinod Thakur. So he's making this point, and then he himself demonstrates that in his life. In that Guru Maharaj's prayers, the separation of Bhaktivinod Thakur, once it was begun, Dharmas Cheva, Yogas Chabogatmako, I forget the line, but he's saying what the line had descended to at that time and what was current in Bengali society. So we know due to the influence of time, since the appearance of Mahaprabhu, and then gradually another 100 years, that what was known as Vaishnavism or Vaishnavas was looked down upon by educated society, because they thought they're doing so many objectionable things in the name of religion, particularly under the heading of Sahajiyaism, imitationism, right? Trying to bring the higher thing as if by force down into this world, and then it turns into something rotten along the way. Right? So engage in so many objectionable, immoral practices in the name of devotion to Krishna, or the pursuit of the culture of devotion to Krishna. Right? So much so that so many people, as soon as they heard Vaishnava, they wanted to have nothing to do with that. So Bhaktivinod Thakur as Guru Maharaj outlines in this verse, he provides a course correction for this line. He restores it, as he mentioned in his talk, he restores the truth to its former purity, right, by his life's work, right, producing so many books, literature with a proper interpretation and guidelines, and additionally rediscovering the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we hear, it's also in his Navadipta Mahatmyam, which is like the spiritual cartography of Navadvip. When we go on the Navadvip parikrama, those who are fortunate enough to do so, we go to so many places where there is a temple built, there's a memorial structure or something indicating what this place is. And we sort of take that for granted. But we should realize this is part of the contribution of Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur before there were no such memorials. So someone had to indicate, authenticate, that these in fact are the places where these pastimes took place. So, before I've given an example about Chernobyl, right, that a nuclear event took place there so many years ago. I forget, 50 years or something like that. 1985. It's something like that, around 50, around 50 years ago. So, in time, I use this because it's in the popular imagination. In time, the grass grows, things are overgrown, whatever the original things become lost. But if someone with a Geiger counter goes there, they'll be able to register that a nuclear event took place here so long ago. They'll be able to verify that. It's a gross example, but it gives you some insight. A soul like Bhaktivinod Thakur, and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, when they enter some divine place, whether there's a marker or not, right, they can sense, they have real-time vision of the pastimes of Krishna, of Mahaprabhu. So when they're in a particular place, they get a reading that this, in fact, is the place where these pastimes occurred. So Bhaktivinod Thakur, when he retired, on the verge of retirement, and a note on that, having something like 12, 14 children, full-time work as a district magistrate, sometimes we'd hear in the evening he'd take some rotis, maybe 4 rotis, and a big glass of hot milk around 8 o'clock at night, rest, wake up around midnight, write from like 12 to 4, take the holy name of Krishna, then there's sunrise, sense, observe various pastimes, rest a little bit, take a nap, and get ready to go to work as the magistrate, and managing all of his household affairs at the same time. But from around midnight till sunrise, he's composing books, songs, taking Krishna Nam. How is he taking Krishna Nam? One of the later disciples of Srila Bhakti Sudhir Saraswati Thakur, I believe his name was Bharati Maharaj, he lived in Surbikunj, Swarupganj, that place where Bhaktivinod Thakur is. And he was like next door neighbor. He was the next door neighbor of Bhaktivinod Thakur. And he later told the devotees, I would hear like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, someone loudly taking Krishna Nam. He said it was so, piteous, that as if that someone was crying out, calling out to their distant lover with such heart and emotional intensity. That's how we heard Bhaktivinod Thakur taking Krishna Nam early in the morning. So that Bhaktivinod Thakur asked to be transferred to Krishna Nagar. And lest we think that when you're connected to Krishna consciousness or pursuing all that is good and holy, you're somehow exempt from the nature of this world or the suffering of this world. No, at various times, he's experiencing great inconvenience and personal suffering, so much so that after the transfer was granted, on the train ride to Krishna Nagar, Bhaktivinod Thakur's thoughts were, as he was advised against it. Right? It was not as comfortable as we might imagine. On his train, knowing that the train ride could finish him, his feeling was, well, I will have died going in the right direction. So there's always this sort of intensity in the pastimes of Krishna and the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, that someone is at the breaking point or on the verge of death. They're willing to wholly sacrifice, offer themselves on the altar of self-sacrifice, like Srila Prabhupada crossing the ocean on the Jaladuta to bring Krishna consciousness to America and the rest of the world. Bhaktivinod Thakur also, actually a life-risking journey. And when he arrives there, stationed there, he begins his research. And we know one thing about the British, they're meticulous cartographers. I remember being in England, like if you go in a park in England and there's like a footpath somewhere, it has a name. It's on a map somewhere. Every bit of England's been mapped out and named and has a history, and it's their forte. So he went to, I forget the name, hunters. Anyway, they make the maps for the Raj, for Indian, and he finds locally where they have deeds of land purchases. You see, there's one place on there, and it's like Myapur, Myapur. That's an Myapur, Myapur. And there's some land changed hands there, and he's like, He makes his way to Mayapur, and as he's trying to ascertain the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at this time, there are many Muslim farmers there. And he comes to understand from them that there's this one place, this land that's, in their opinion, their estimation, useless. They say, no matter what we try to grow there, nothing grows there, only tulsi. So the place is useless. You think, oh, show me that place where only tulsi grows. And he's overwhelmed by that same, what the events that took place there, right? In the objective world, a certain amount of time, all of that is flooding him. But still he's not overly confident in his own assessment or judgment of things. Back in Swarupganj, when he's taking a break from writing all these scriptures, taking Krishna Nam in the evening, sometimes he has visions of light in that direction. Right? Sometimes he has visions of a spiritual city appearing there. Sometimes in the morning at around 4:15 or so, a breeze comes from Devapoli or Nrsimhapoli, where the deity of Nrsimha. A breeze comes in that direction and goes toward Mayapur. Bhaktivinod Thakur, by his deep meditation and penetration into the inner world, the upper world, he comes to realize that Nrsimhadev is attending the Mangal Arati of Gauranga Mahaprabhu every day. And that's the breeze. Nrsimhadev going from Devapoli to Mayapur. So what sort of sensitivity does that indicate in him? It's a way of revealing his level of spiritual perception. Still not overly confident in his own assessment of things. And it's part of the Vaishnava way to always approach the most senior Vaishnavas for their certification and approval. Right? And that time, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who we know lived to be 125 years of age, Vaishnava of the highest order, and as he became older, more decrepit and hunchback, he was unable to walk. So he's hunched over, and he had an attendant carry him in like a wicker basket. And we've seen, like to Badrinath, they would have these baskets, what are they called? Palki, sometimes. And you'll see one man carrying another man on his back, like up the mountain, kind of. Something similar to that, but in a big basket, he's carrying him. And they take Jagannath Das Babaji, who for all practical purposes is invalid, to this place. Bhaktivinod Thakur wants him to certify, authenticate that this in fact is the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is so overwhelmed by the spiritual atmosphere. We're told he leaps out of his basket, and he's leaping like more than a meter off the ground, jumping up the air in uncontrolled ecstasy. And they start having kirtan, Nam Sankirtan. And Bhaktivinod Thakur happily accepts this as the certification, the verification, that this indeed is the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Dev. And that's where, to this day, every year, those fortunate enough to go on the Brajamandal Parikrama, the Navaditam Parikrama, they visit Mayapur and the neem tree under which baby Nimai was born. So Bhaktivinod Thakur still, just imagine, he's producing incomparable wealth in the form of the books that he presents. And so we say, he had, according to Guru Maharaj, maybe 5 or 7 disciples in his lifetime. If you think about that. Just a handful of people. It tells us that this isn't something, he's not someone who's openly acknowledged or recognized for who he is and what he represents. But a handful of fortunate souls locally, they have some appreciation and obviously some high level of sukriti to get a spiritual connection with him. So what he needs is an agent for distribution. Right? But Bhaktivinod Thakur has connections. Right? We find in the Bhagavad Arka Marichi Mala, which means how do you say, Krishna swadamo pagate dharma gyani dibiksaha kalo nashta drishamesha puranarko duno ditaha. We're told after the disappearance of Krishna, the Bhagavad Purana, because the whole world is plunged into the darkness of the Kali Yuga, then the Bhagavad Purana appears like the sun to illumine all directions, right? Give guidance. So if it's 18,000 slokas, right, it's like 18,000 rays of sun, Bhagavad sun. Bhaktivinod Thakur got the inspiration for this book to collect around 1,000 of those rays. Ray is important. They're illuminating particular aspects of Krishna conception. That's what we mean to say. And he's going to collect 1,000 of them. And he does and presents in the form of that book, but toward the end he's saying that I'm perplexed what to say with regard to how this collection came about. Because on the one hand, if I tell you, I risk pratishta or self-endorsement. And on the other hand, if I don't, I think I will be ungrateful to my guru, because everything should be, pratishta. How are we saved from pratishta? By offering it to the lotus feet of Gurudev. And there he says that one day, while he was deeply penetrating upon the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam, that Swarup Damodar, Mahaprabhu Dudiya Kalevar, Mahaprabhu II, his right arm, personal attendant, Swarup Damodar appeared to him and told him to do this. Right? And he gave him an explanation of the first 3 slokas of the Bhagavatam in terms of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, to understand them along those lines. Right? So the book begins with some detailed explanation of that. So he's saying, Swarup Damodar appeared to him and gave this order. So when Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur, he is in earnest need of a distribution agent, actually. But how? How shall that be arranged? Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he put it very nicely. He said, because they say, Gurudam, Grantadam, Gauradam, Namadam, Uda, Bhaktidam, Buridam, Bande, Bhaktivinodadam Sada. After all his gifts, revealed Mahaprabhu's birthplace, gave us all the Bhakti Shastra Ja Samrajan, right? And Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhim. That we'll get to later from Guru Maharaj. Right? And the bhakti, he gave everything. But then those are the gifts he brought down to distribute, but then the distribution agent, he also supplied. He also gave us Guru in the form of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Right? But Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj said it very beautifully. He said, and why did Srila Saraswati Thakur descend into this world? He said, he was irresistibly drawn in attraction to the wealth and the melted heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In other words, it's not like merely being given an assignment. Like, we need you to do this, and you're a surrendered soul, so you agree to do that. Not like that. That can also be there, but not like that. Saying, irresistibly drawn to the wealth and the melted heart of Bhaktivinod Thakur by the substance of which he personifies. Right? Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhim is flowing. Radha Dasyam, he's the font, the fountainhead of this in the modern world. Right? So, Srila Saraswati Thakur descends where at the time was Jagannath Puri, as we're on the verge of the Jagannath Rath Yatra. And for those who have been, I realized when because we'd always heard, Srila Bhakti Sudhir Saraswati Thakur appeared, in Jagannath Puri at the time when Bhaktivinod Thakur was posted there. And we know there's so many attendants surrounding deities, and they very nicely mention all these things on the broadcast. I highly recommend it. They explain the chariot, Nandi Goshen, each horse, and every single thing in detail. It's very beautiful. But one deity, Bimala Devi, and Bhaktivinod Thakur had some, supplication to the goddess Bimala in regard to the appearance of child, son. So when Srila Saraswati Thakur did appear, he was given the name Bimala Prasad. But when we'd hear he appeared in Puri and on the Grand Road, and I thought, if he appeared any nearer to the Jagannath temple, he would have been near the altar. I mean, it's that close. And you see where I think Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhav Maharaj established a mat. It's very close. Right? And we know that, again, Gurudev Jagannath Das Babaji verifying the descent of this divine soul. There was a mystic expression and perhaps Puranic literature about the Savior will appear in Puri. And so it's taken to mean Jagannath and Jagannath Prasad, the mercy, you'll get the mercy that will save you from Puri, but it's also equally applicable to Srila Saraswati Thakur. And of course, his mother presented the baby to the Jagannath deity, the garland fell down as acknowledgement and recognition. So, that Bhaktivinod Thakur and Srila Saraswati Thakur realized the agent for the distribution of his divine wealth. And Srila Guru Maharaj, much to the pleasure of Srila Saraswati Thakur, had the capacity to identify that, to weigh, measure, evaluate, which he does in these prayers. And one thing before mentioning this is that in the same prayers, he's saying, what Madhva and Ramanuja gave, he doesn't say what you're giving is equal to that. He's saying, you've surpassed what they have given. Because he's giving full-fledged Krishna conception as conceived, broadcast by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there, Guru Maharaj wrote, Sri Gauranumatam Swarupa Viditam Rupagrajen Adritam Rupadye Pariveshitam Raghugunai Ashvaditam Sevitam Jivadhyaya Virakshitam Sukashiva Brahma Samanitam Sri Radha Padasevanamritam Aho Taddatum Isho Bhavan. Aho, Bhaktivinod Thakur, what is your gift to the world? I think it has to do with Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinod Thakur's worshipable deity is Gaur Gadadhar. Right. So it says, Sri Gauranavatam Swarupa Viditam. The internal purpose for the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known only fully to Swarup Damodar. So Chaitanya Charitamritam necessarily is based upon the notes of Swarup Damodar, and by extension Raghunath Das Goswami, his assistant. That's included. So he's saying, only Swarup Damodar knows this. What was given previously was understood in terms of Nam Sankirtan. As I mentioned recently, and we'll find in Rath Yatra, that marvelously, even in a public space, he's doing both. Nam Sankirtan, Bahiranga Sangikori Nama Sankirtan, and Antaranga Sangikori Rasasvadan. He's simultaneously doing Nam Sankirtan and publicly, in a sense, distributing Krishna Prem with his devotees in general, while personally relishing and tasting rasa from the position of Srimati Radharani and Radha Bhav toward Krishna, with Swarup Damodar, Ramananda, and others. So, Swarup Damodar, it's mentioned by Kaviraj Goswami in Charitamritam. He said, if anyone knows anything substantially about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, really, the internal aspect of Mahaprabhu, they must have heard it from Swarup Damodar. Right? This is, so, and conversely, if anyone says something that is not in line with what has been expressed by Swarup Damodar, we reject it as being apasiddhantic, apocryphal. No, Sri Gauranamatam Swarupa Viditam Rupagrajayan Adritam. And he's saying, so, and that very thing that Swarup Damodar is fully aware of about the internal nature of the descent of Mahaprabhu, that is worshipped by Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu. Rupagrajayan Adritam. Rupadye Pariveshitam. And Rupa Goswami is distributing that substance personally and through his line. Rupadye Pariveshitam Raghuganai Ashwaditam Shev. And Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, they're tasting that divine substance and it's becoming enhanced in the process. It's not becoming less tasteful, it's becoming more tasteful. Jivadyeya Barakshitam. And Jiva Goswami and Baladev Vidyabhushan, their seva is to protect this highest divine substance from adulteration, right? Alteration, modification, imitation, also from those who would challenge its authenticity. Right? That is the Rakak, like Bhakti Rakak, right? Protectors, guardians of this divine substance, most valuable divine substance. Jiva, Dhyaya, and Sukha, Shiva, Brahma, and later Guru Maharaj added Uddhava. They are aspiring for a drop of this divine substance. Just see, Guru Maharaj is saying, this is Bhaktivinod Thakur's gift to the world. What was understood by, why Mahaprabhu descended, understood fully by Swarup Damodar, worshipped by Sanatana Goswami, distributed by Rupa, tasted by Raghunath and Krishnadas, protected by Jiva and Baladev, aspired for by Brahma, Shiva, Sukha, and Uddhava. Then, what is it? Right? Sri Radha Parasevanamritam. He's going, oh, means, oh, Bhaktivinod Thakur. This is Sri Radha Parasevanamritam, the service of the holy lotus feet, the nectarine service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, What is the last line in Guru Maharaj's pranam in the beginning? Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhim. The Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi. He's distributing that flow, that current, and maybe beyond what we can conceive or appreciate. But nonetheless, that is the gift of Bhaktivinod Thakur to the world. Right? The most valuable thing ever known in all time, all space, and all creations. This is his gift to the world in the form of the modern day Krishna consciousness movement. And when Srila Saraswati Thakur read this, and Goswami Maharaj was there, and he said, "Who has written this?" And Goswami said, "Sridhar Maharaj." And Saraswati Thakur said, "No, Sridhar Maharaj has not written this." He said, "Bhaktivinod Thakur has written this through him. It's that perfect." And understand in the following verse, so what is Guru Maharaj's prayer? Oh, Bhaktivinod Thakur, accept me as one of your aspiring servitors? No. That would be impertinent. He's saying, so Bhaktivinod Thakur, please, by your grace and your mercy, if you will be so kind as allow me to serve the holy lotus feet of your beloved, Bimala, if you want to say, or Nayana Mani, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's his prayer. I want to serve his holy lotus feet. He doesn't jump over and say, oh, now that I've realized and understood these things, I'm applying to you directly. That would cancel everything. No, he remains a faithful servant to the lotus feet of his Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, and that said, so in the Godrum, it's variously described, Godrum, Surabhi Kunj, Swananda Sukhada Kunj, Swarup Ganj, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur resided. As Gurudev said when we were in Lakdan, St. Petersburg, he said the worship of Gaur Gadadhar is the private bhajan chamber of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? Revealing him as a stalwart Navadvip devotee. Once I said to Guru Maharaj, because I was thinking, from one point of view, in a certain context, the highest pastimes of Mahaprabhu, or most confidential, or most perplexing, are in Puri. And then I was saying, and then there are these other, more happy pastimes in Navadvip, and I wanted to know which should be considered superior. And Guru Maharaj, without hesitation, he said, stalwart followers of Mahaprabhu prefer Navadvip. And it may be somewhat difficult for us to understand from our present position, but they have so much love for Gauranga and for Niyamai Pandit at the time. And he's so beautiful that they cannot, the Sannyas Leela gives some pain to their hearts. And to see him shorn of his beautiful hair. Right? The only thing, I think, in modern context, if there was some, like, on the conversely, some super beautiful woman, and then they shaved her head, everyone would go like, oh. But when Mahaprabhu's head was shaved in Katwa, the barber refused, the people were fainting and crying, and when it finally took place, Guru Maharaj said in his, Laka Lochanashru Varsha Harsha, the Premadama Stotram, where he said, tears fell from the eyes of millions. They were so heartbroken to see the beautiful hair of Nimai Pandit shaved away. Right? So and on the altar, the worship introduced by Srila Saraswati Thakur, technically speaking, it's based on the Ramananda Sambad, where Mahaprabhu in Sannyas Vesh, Ramananda is no longer seeing sannyasi, he's seeing Radhan, Rasaraj, Mahabhav, Duyak Roop. Rasaraj, Krishna and Mahabhav Radharani combined. But on the altar, they're showing Gauranga with hair, and he's not dressed as a sannyasi. It's as like Nimai Pandit. So that's the comparison is like Gupta Vrindavan, Navadip's Gupta Vrindavan, the particular place where Guru Maharaj established the mutt, Gupta Govardhan, and Gupta Vrindavan. Puri is Gupta Dwaraka. So Dwaraka Krishna is not the favorite of the Braja Gopis. They want Krishna, they don't like that Raj dressed as a king. No flute, and dressed as a king. And what kind of Krishna doesn't have a flute? So when they see Krishna after such a long separation, you think they would be so happy, but they can't conceal their heart's disappointment when, upon seeing him in Kurukshetra, he's in the dress of a king and not in the Gopa Vesh, and no flute to be found, and they're just not having it. And Radharani and Krishna have some conversation and work everything out and get Krishna back on the right track. But so Bhaktivinod Thakur, as the Brij Basis could not conceal their heart's disappointment seeing the Rajvesh, and prayed for, you come again to Vrindavan, and in your cowherd dress and with the beautiful sound of your flute and the moon shining on you on the banks of the Jamuna, and we'll play again as we did. When Nimai Pandit, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returns to the area, having taken sannyas, some years have gone by, and he's, skirted away to the house of Vidya Vachaspati in Vidyanagar. And all the people, they madly run to see him. We're told they try to first they go across the Ganga in boats, then they're holding like big pots as flotation devices. Then when it's not fast enough, all the people just rush into the water and go to the other side. But there's so many people, no one drowns. It just pushes the water away and they just run through. And they reach there and they're so eager to have a glimpse of the beauty of Gauranga. Sado pasya srimandrita manujakai pranayatam bahadbi givanai girisha paramrishti prabhritibhi sa bhaktevya sudham nijabhajana mudra mupadishan satchetan lakime punar vidashorya shatibadam. Even Brahma, Shiva, they're donning human guise to have a glimpse of the beauty of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. People are climbing trees. They're even, by mystic potency of the Lord, a twig can support a human being, not just a branch. Even a twig can hold you. So imagine, the trees are covered with people. They're all there and there. And Vidya Vachaspati is saying, I think you're going to have to go out there. They're not going away until they're going like, Haribo, Haribo. And so finally he convinces Mahaprabhu to come out, and when he comes out, the whole world loses it. They're crying, they're ecstatic. He's so beautiful, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Swarnakoti darpanaba dehovarna gauravam. Gauranga said like 10 million mirrors made out of the highest type of gold. Shining, beautiful, Gauranga, Radha Bhava Kanti, right? Radha Bhava Duty, Subalita. He's enveloped. Why is he so golden and radiant? Because he's taken the heart of Srimati Radharani, and the heart's radiance has made Shama Sundar, Gauranga Sundar, Bhavan Kanti, heart and halo. And Bhaktivinod Thakur, in one of his songs, taking himself as one of that group, and talking about his real-time live streaming participation in Leela. He is there and seeing Mahaprabhu, and what is the song he's saying? Give up the dress of the Maharaj and come and join us again in the house of Srivas. And our, Prem Sankirtan, our Rasa Kirtan. So that's Gopi Bhav, the way the gopis are going, give up the dress, this royal dress, and come back to us to Vrindavan. He's saying, give up your Maharaj dress and come back with us to the house of Srivas. So, and his song about the beautiful worship of Gaur Gadadhar, in the last line, he says, Smara Gaura Gadadhara Keli Kalam Bhava Gaura Gadadhara Pakshachara Srinu Gaura Gadadhara Charu Katha Bhaja Godru Makana Nakunja Vidum. The Charu Katha, saying about their beautiful pastime, but also Charu Katha, the beautiful Katha of Gadadhar Pandit to assuage the separation in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is enveloped by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani, experiencing the depths of Radha Bhav. So the, aparam kasyapi pranay janambinda sukutuki rasotstama ritva madaram upabhoktam kamapiya. Having plundered the wealth of the heart of Srimati Radharani, being irresistibly drawn in curiosity to experience what it is like to be her, the remainder is Gadadhar. That is why Kaviraj Goswami can compare him to Rukmini, which presents an ontological dilemma. Really, Rukmini is very agreeable to all the proposals at the threat of separation. She's fainting. Gadadhar will never argue with Mahaprabhu, even being teased in different ways or provoked, because she no longer possesses her Bhama Bhav, that Bhav of opposition that is so much Radharani. That's been plundered. So Gomer said, the remainder, a facsimile, something that he would say, a carcass of the former self. Gurudev once said, like a shadow following Mahaprabhu. Gomer said, a man who had a pot of gold, and someone took all the gold and he's running after them with the pot, trying to regain their wealth. This is their Acharya Leela of Radha and Krishna as Gaur Gadadhar. And Gadadhar Pandit, staying in Puri, worshipping Gopinath, cooking there, inviting Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. Think, Radharani bringing Krishna and Balaram for lunch is another way to see. So Gadadhar Pandit bringing Gaur and Nityananda, right, to take prasad. Right? And also Charukata, giving these unparalleled in their beauty and expression of Srimad Bhagavatam. as Bhaktivinod's collecting and extracting what is being extracted by Gadadhar Pandit. Think in the Radharani is explaining the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? What a special perspective that is. And Mahaprabhu in terra incognita, a world previously unexplored by him, the terrain of the heart of Srimati Radharani, particularly Radhabhav, is under Gadadhar's spell for guidance, for relief. So, because two persons are intimately familiar with that terrain. We're told Swarup Damodar in his incomparable position, Swarupam Bibrano Jagataturyam, and Gadadhar Pandit, who is Srimati Radharani herself. So when she sees Krishna enveloped by her heart and halo, experiencing the depths of the separation that she knows too well, she's in the best position, he, to relieve the anguish of separation in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in conclusion, when Srila Guru Maharaj, like Bhaktivinod Thakur, extracting the slokas for the Bhagavad Arka Marityamala, Guru Maharaj was going to do a smaller extraction, and he wrote introductory slokas, one for Veda Vyas, and one for Gadadhar Pandit, which I believe gives an indication of the quality and the criteria for selection of the slokas. And in this verse, Guru Maharaj says, Nilam bodhi today sadasva viraha kepan vitam bandhavam Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madhiraya Sanjivayan Bhatiya Srimad Bhagavatam Svanayana Subhayanai Pujayan Goswami Prabharo Gadadhara Vibhur Bhuyat Madeka Gati. Saying Nilam Bodhi, that means the blue ocean, on the shore of the blue ocean in Puri, Nilachala. Nilam Bodhi Tate Sada Svaviraha. Svaviraha means experiencing separation from yourself. But in this case, it means, so Krishna, enveloped by the heart of Srimati Radharani, experiencing separation from Krishna. How peculiar. Right? Svaviraha Kepan, and the company of his best friend. Who is his best friend? Gadadhar Pandit, Srimati Radharani. The two of them. Then Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madhiraya Sanjivayan Bhatya. And the intensity of separation is such that it's reached the 10th stage, which is death, or on the verge of death. That's how intense it is. If in this world people can say, I can't live without you, I'll die, they express these sort of things. Right? Then magnify that ad infinitum to understand the intensity and the magnitude of this anguish of separation. Right? So in that death-like state, Sanjivayan, Gadadhar Pandit is reviving, bringing Mahaprabhu back from the verge of death by doing what? Madhiraya, Srimad Bhagavat Katha is being supplied like wine or an intoxicant. In other words, just like someone is feeling their heart broken in separation from their beloved, another friend comes and says, drink some of this and you'll feel better. Here, drink some more. Drink some more. And then gradually they feel some. But what is the intoxicant that's being supplied? Are slokas from the Bhagavatam, selected by Gadadhar Pandit, by Radharani herself. She's saying, these are the ones that help. Listen to the singing, and Mahaprabhu is getting some relief, and Radharani seeing Krishna in this condition. It's bringing Gadadhar Pandit to tears as he's reciting these verses. Tears are streaming from his lotus eyes, falling upon the pages and washing away those very slokas. So that later when Srinivasacharya approaches, Gadadhar Pandit says, what I wanted to teach you has been washed away by my tears. You'll have to get another Bhagavatam. By the time he returns, Gadadhar Pandit has left the world. What is Krishna consciousness? So, saying those tears, they're washing away the words on the pages as if the tears themselves are like flower offerings. You should offer some flowers. But they're the tears of Gadadhar Pandit falling upon the pages, washing away the slokas. Goshami Prabharo Gadadhara Vibhur Bhuyat Madeka Gati. To that Gadadhar Pandit, may this collection be an offering. Hare Krishna. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. I forgot to mention Gora Prema Moitanu Pandita Gadadhar. This beautiful line, and we can sing this song. It's Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doyo Koromore. And I know in the English book, it's on page 77, or 6. Okay. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koromore. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Thoma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagata Madhare. Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avadara. Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avadara. Moshamo Patita Prabhu Na Paibeyara. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripa bolo kanna koro ami bodo dukhi. Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai. Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai. Tava Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai. Gora Prema Moyatanu Pandita Gadadhar. Gora Prema Moyatanu Pandita Gadadhar. Gadadhar Srinivasa Haridasa Daya Rasagara Srinivasa Haridasa Daya Rasagara Ha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Bhatta Juga Sri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Bhatta Juga Sri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Daya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sango Mage Narottama Dasa Ramachandra Sango Mage Narottama Dasa Doya Koro Prabhupada Sri Gaura Prakash Bhavajana Kripa Mage Adamadas Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Nitai Gaur Gadadhar Advaita Shiva Srila Gadadhar Pandit Tirabha Mahamahotsav Ki Jai Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur Tirabha Mahotsav Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Satera Sadashri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai Shri Gaur Gadadhar Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Shri Swananda Sukata Kunj ki jai, Shri Surabhi Kunj ki jai, Surabganj ki jai, Shri Gupta Govardhan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki jai, Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Brinda ki jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Bimala Avadut Maharaj ki jai, Seva Brinda ki jai, Somaveda Bhakta Brinda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give these to the ladies came with Supriya. There's only 2 garland and 3 ladies, so figure it out. Oh, there's another one. Here's another one for the young girl. She doesn't know what she's doing. All right. Tomorrow is the Gundicha Marjan. Means when Mahaprabhu and his devotees, and preparation for Rath Yatra, where Jagannath is going to go to Gundicha, which represents Vrindavan, so they have to get the place nice and ready. It's once a year. So they clean the temple very nicely in preparation for the arrival of Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balabhadra. And we'll discuss that tomorrow evening. But it's traditional in all the mats, the temples, that we clean particularly the kitchen, the deity room, the kitchen, and everywhere possible. But those are the 2 main focal points, is the temple room and deity room and all the deities' paraphernalia and the closets and everything imaginable, and the kitchen. Those are the 2 most important places. So it's good for the soul. So to the degree everyone can participate in that tomorrow will be very nice. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yes.
And Dandavas Maharaj from Arjuna Prabhu, Vinitsa, Ukraine, Vijay Krishna, London, UK.
That's the new place, right?
Yes. Right. Castle. Vijay Krishna, London, UK. UT Krishna Didi, Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
Damodar Prabhu, Melbourne. Damodar Prabhu, Colombia. Nityananda Ram Prabhu, Colombia. Kuladri Prabhu, USA. Atula Krishna Prabhu and Manavi Didi, Hungary. Dhananjay Prabhu, Russia. Madhumati Didi, USA. Tapanandini Didi, Mexico.
Madhumati.
Madhumita.
Oh, Madhumita.
I'm sorry. Right. Madhumita.
Young lady, she came to China when Unamani was
Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
She was in Bangkok.
Yeah.
I remember her, yes.
And Kuladri Das, non-Siberian, Dandavats, deep gratitude for your...
Siberian Dandavats or
No.
regular Dandavats?
No, Kuladri Das, not from Siberia, not that.
No, Kuladri is my elder, senior godbrother, disciple of Prabhupada, president of Vrindavan, made the Prabhupada Palace. Him I know. He's from America.
So, no, it is mentioned in it.
You ran them
Parenthals,
together.
yeah.
So dramatic pause,
Yes.
and then...
No, I didn't run them together.
Oh,
it
alright.
was in a side note that this is not the Kuladri from Siberia. And
You mean there's a Kuladri in Siberia?
if they meant this, they're
I don't
non-Siberian.
think so. There's only one Kuladri, I think.
You know that better.
And I know.
Dandavats, deep gratitude for your discourse on such an auspicious day and any day, Kuladri Das. Sahadevi Didi, Sahadevi Didi US. Hare Krishna, thank you dear Maharaj and all the assembled devotees. Rameshwara Prabhu, thank you for explaining the transcendental gifts given to us lowly souls by the great Avatar Sampradaya Acharya, Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur.
And he distributed all Brahmaswara. He arranged a miraculous. Prabhupada, when the Chaitanya Charitamrita challenged him to do, it's 17 volumes think of a 400 books, fully illustrated, Bengali, word for word, word for word, synonyms, translation, purports, everything. 17 books in 2 months. And he did that. That's extraordinary. That's Gaur Shakti, with some Nityananda Shakti thrown in. So that we can all read these books. Those are the books that we read. That's the Chaitanya Charitamritam. The greatest book ever seen the light of day, in all time, all space, and all creations. Hare Krishna. And he deserves the lion's share of credit for organizing the publishing of those books. We're eternally indebted, grateful. That it?
Yes.
All right. Jai Vanchakalpatri Rasta Kripa Sindhaveva Cha Patita Nam Pavanevya Vaishnaveva Namo Namaha.